Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is where you are. Today I thought that we would cheer things up a little bit after last week's little bit down and dreary video where we talked about death, and this week we would look at water. So obviously, you know, if you've watched our videos before, you know the size of the flock we've got here, and you know we've got quite a few birds, we've got quite a few mixed birds as well, so it's not all the chickens, all ducks or all geese, they're all mixed in together, and each breed has got its own specific needs and requirements and wants for what you do with the water. So for example, that one I could give to chickens without a problem at all, but I wouldn't want to give that to a duck. So yeah, this week we'll have a look at what we do for water, how we use the water, how we try to save and conserve, and we'll see how we've split our yard here, because it is split between those that require the constant topping up and those that are on nearly always perfect, works most of the time, auto watering. So if we start off, we'll have a look at a couple of water containers, and then we'll go around the yard and we'll see the different watering systems we use here. So first thing to note with these containers is, even though I am showing you these containers, they do come in a variety of the sizes. So for example, this one here, I think that's a 1 litre one, maybe 2 litres, 1.5 litres. It does come in a smaller version. This is the sort of thing we use for chicks. The reason we use it for chicks is because it's rather shallow in there. The water, the way how they work is that you put the water in and then you put the lid on, and then the water comes out of these holes. But once the water is covered up to the top of the holes, air can no longer get in to force the water out. So it then needs the bird to drink it for the water to then come out of this and into the tray. So because the holes are there, it means it goes up to the rim of the tray, which isn't that deep. Now, obviously, as I said, there are smaller ones, and the smaller ones aren't as deep. So when you've got stuff like quails, which just love to drown themselves, they will at any opportunity, you'd put some gravel or maybe some marbles in there to give less water in there and less room for them to drown themselves. So when they start getting a little bit bigger, you move them up to other ones like this. I haven't cleaned them before the video, as you can see, and you can see again, let me check that you can see that. Yeah, you can see again where the hole is, and the hole comes in, and so that's how deep your water's going to be within there. So when they get a little bit bigger, obviously these come into larger sizes and larger sizes, and then you get ones like this, and we have used this type in our cages, and all they do is they just twist on. Again, I haven't cleaned it, but these come with two options to them, whereas these ones, you really have to place them on the floor and hope your floor's flat, because if your floor isn't flat and it goes up at an angle, all your water's going to drain out. These ones, you've got two choices on. You've got the handle on the top so you can hang them, and then you know it's going to hang level, but underneath they've also got legs, and your legs you can use, so you could use it for chicks when they get a little bit bigger, place it on the legs and the legs come up, and the legs then also have another step to them, so if you're dealing with slightly bigger birds. But obviously if you're using this at this size with chicks, you're going to need something bigger than this when they move on to adult birds. Okay, so we've got some bits and pieces we got to refill. Just as I talk about drinking, there's some over there drinking. So I'm going to go and turn on the hose pipe. I'm going to start refilling this one, and we'll talk about that one. And then I've got a couple of others I've got to refill as well, and we'll talk about them at the same time. Okay, so here we go. That's the hose pipe on and working. And this is filling up our 25 litre plastic drinker. This is the main one that we use for the chickens. This is ideal because we can add stuff to it, like I'm going to add today some apple cider vinegar. I know it says unpasteurised, but it's been pasteurised now. I'm going to add some of that purely because I haven't given them any for a few weeks, and it's getting towards the end of the summer, and they're going to start their molts and that very soon. I think a couple of them have already started. So the way how these work is it's pretty much the same as those other ones where the hole and the water comes up and everything like that, but just on a much bigger scale. So you place the lid on the top, which we'll do in just a second, and hopefully you can see just in there's a little plastic piece, and that's currently covering up the hole. Little bug running across there. That's currently covering up the hole. But then once the lid's on and I release that, the water will only come up as far as the hole, up until the chickens start drinking the water. So we fill this up to the top. There we go. Screw on the lid, nice and tight, make sure no air can get in there. And then just underneath, we just lift up the thing, and that exposes the hole, and water only comes out there. So it's ideal if we want to give the chickens anything like the apple cider vinegar, because we're able to measure it out, and then we know how much has gone in there and how much they've had. We can't then guarantee every single bird has drunk from it, but we can believe every bird has drunk from it because it's the only water within here, if that makes sense. They don't tend to get out and change and go into other enclosures and that. So in with these guys here, the bantams. They're actually on one of these things. It does need cleaning out. I know most of my stuff needs cleaning out. So yeah, these guys in there are on this container, and it works the same as those other ones. It's just a hanging container, and the reason why it hangs is to keep it level. But with this one, I'll show you, we've actually worked out a nifty little thing with it. It's by total accidentally on purpose, but it's worked out really, really well. Right. Put the lid on. Right. So where it hangs on this thing, you can see I've put other knots in it to shorten it a little bit, but when it's full, it's just touching on the floor, literally just touching. And when there's about a quarter left, it starts to swing a bit in the breeze. Not massively swing, but you know, just swing enough. So we're able to tell it's empty when it's swinging in the breeze. Just one of those things. Right, let's do this here. That's done. Excellent. This is what I then use to, see, I then use that to go around and to refill these ones that need refilling. So we'll come down here now, all the way down to where these growers are. And what we'll do is we'll have a look at these ones in here. This is what's called an Altex drinker, E-L-T-E-X, quite a famous brand, you might have heard of them. And a lot of their drinkers are galvanised, which is good because they're long lasting. The lid goes over the top, and it's got these little hooks in it, I hope you can see that slide into little catches that just down here, just in there's a little catch and it slides in underneath it. So how they work is pretty much the same as the other plastic drinkers I showed you. There is a hole, and from that hole the water comes out. However, I do have an issue with them. As you can see now, I'm trying to fill it up, but to fill it up the best and the quickest way, you need to get them absolutely perfectly level, because if you don't, they just waste so much water. It is unbelievable. You need to fill them something like 3 times just to get one fill out of them. See, even now we're still going for it. And going. If you need a wee, you know, just pause, go and have a wee and then come back. I'm not going to fill it up all the way because they're just a nightmare. It's quicker to use the water from out of the water container than to do it this way. So what we do is we'll do that and then we'll lift them up. So yeah, the issue I have with these, the major issue, is that they have to be kept either hanging or level. It's one or the other. So I've just kind of like made up that for the chickens at the minute, and they seem to like that. But you can see where it's hanging there, because it is hanging, it's going to hang level. Obviously if it was placed on the floor, it'd be over at an angle and they'd be leaking out. So they're cracking containers, they're brilliant, they work really, really well. except when they're not on a flat surface. I've had it placed on the floor and it empties itself within about half an hour. It's ridiculous. Right, so that is my containers that I use that are manually refilled. Oh, you see I've got this one hanging around as well, because it needs parts for it basically. That again is another one. It works the same as the big plastic one. There'd be a tray underneath, you put water in the top, and yeah, it would work like that. Right, so let's take a look at the auto waterers that we've got on site. And let's have a look and see. So if we start off at the top, the head, with the header tank, we've got just one of these, and I fill it up about once a week. It's a water butt. Comes off the water butt with a hose pipe, and that hose pipe goes into a splitter, and that comes off. This comes into the drinker, which is for the geese and the ducks, and as you can see, it's wider, bigger and deeper than anything that is used for the chickens. Reason being is that a duck or a goose wants to get their whole bill in there to have a good old swish around. You're going to show us, Mrs. E? See, there she is, good old girl, she's still walking about. Here comes Dave to interrupt with Georgie today. So yeah, you can see that this is ideal for them. At the end is a little float switch. So as they drink, the float switch goes down, turns water on, fresh water comes in. To clean it out, I just take the end cap off. Everything just goes straight out the end, and anything that don't is just wiped out, and then they can have clean fresh water in there again. Ain't that right, Dave? Yes. Yes, I quite like that. So that's their water. But as you can see, the hose pipe comes down, it splits there, so it goes off there, and then it comes down here and it splits here. So I've got one that goes off into the coop that I will show you in just a second, and then it comes down here, and we've got two different type of drinkers down here. Let's go for cake and presents. So these guys have got these type of drinking cups. So you can see them there. So if I look at them, and then I'll go and grab these ones from here, because I can hold these ones up. So they got these type of drinking cups. These are okay, in my opinion. I just say okay because that's all that I really think of them. So your water would come in either through the pipe or through whichever means you decide. If you have like a bucket and you put these into a bucket, if you have a line and they're coming off a line, all of the different T-pieces and everything else like that, and it's just starting to rain. So the whole idea is that the chicken puts its head in there to drink, and as it drinks, it wiggles the yellow bit. The yellow bit acts as a valve just in here, so as you wiggle it to either side, anywhere other than in the middle, it allows water to come through, and then it leaves a little pool of water in there for the chicken to drink from. So the chicken then comes back, puts its head in there and drinks. Problem being is that a lot of the time the chicken doesn't actually move the yellow bit. It does some of the time, but not every time. So what you end up with is a drinker like this one, and you can see there's that little tiny splidging of water in the bottom there. I don't know how much a splidging is, but you know, that's a splidging of water in the bottom there. And again, you know, that one's got a little bit more in it, that one's got next to nothing in it. So your chicken is then constantly wondering where the water's gone, and obviously it doesn't know to come over and just to place its head against the yellow bit, and then more water will come through. Try teaching it. There you go, see, straight in there. Oh, nice bit of clean water this, lovely. Oh, just what I wanted. But as you can see, the way he's putting his head in there, he's not exactly moving that yellow piece a great amount of distance. So I am going to change them. Now these guys, the younger growers, these are the ones that were inside. I actually changed theirs at the weekend. I ordered some other cups off of eBay months ago, and I've just had them sat around doing nothing. So I had these guys on a hanging one. See, there's the hanging wire. It come down. And they were drinking it within just a couple of hours. So I thought, something's got to give. So I made this up. So what I've done was I placed it onto a board. The reason why it's on a board is because I don't then have to leave it in here. I can lift it up and I can move it. And we're going from plastic hose, 9mm plastic hose, into hose pipe. It actually just slides straight inside, as I'll explain in just a second when we go inside and look at the other ones. And what you've got is you've got these cups, and these cups, as you can see already, let's take you in close. You can see they hold so much more water than what's in those other cups that we just looked at. And these ones are adjustable at the top here, so you can bring it all the way back, so as you're able to get more liquid in the cup, or you can screw it all the way down so as you get a little bit less liquid in the cup. Now I've screwed it down to get a little bit less, because obviously I want to see how it works and how it does with the birds and how they get on with it. But these guys seem to be loving it. They're straight in there, having a good bit of fun. Plus it's expandable, it's downgradable, and I can move them anywhere. So I'm quite liking these at the minute. So let's head on inside and we'll have a look at the other ones, and I can show you a few of the other things I pointed out. So here we go. We've got Gobbledygook is one of them, one of the names. Another one's named Christmas, and I can't remember what the other ones are named. The kids do keep on telling me. They are going outside this week. As you can see, they're getting a bit too big to be flapping around in here. So again, these guys and girls were, don't poop on me now, they were on a hanging one. Let me just squeeze on in. There we go, I'm in. So these guys were on a hanging one, and again I've just moved them over to having these cups. So you can see the 9mm pipe just slides straight inside, just went straight in there. You're finished. Excellent. So yeah, the 9mm pipe just went straight in there. Just a couple of cable ties, hold it on. It comes back to about here, just to really make sure that it doesn't leak. So when I want to move it, all I need to do is I need to clamp this off, undo them, slide it out, lift up the board, move them somewhere else, and they'll be able to go with their cups. You see again at the end, the just make sure you can see that. Yeah, there you go. So the pipe is actually just bent over, and I just whack a couple of cable ties in it, and they've got the two drinkers there just to merrily drink away at. So I hope that makes sense for you. Again, if you've got any questions, queries, comments, anything at all, leave them down below, so as I can answer them, or I can try to answer them. I should also say that the geese and the ducks, as well as having the regular drinkers, they do also have their ponds as well that they drink from. There's a goose just drinking out of the pond there now. They tend to just go for whichever one they want to. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for which one they choose and which one they don't choose. So thank you for watching. Please like, please comment, please subscribe, please do all of those things. Please share us around your friends, let other people know about us, so as we can keep on building the channel and keep on improving things. We are experimenting with a couple of bits and pieces. You can probably see the nest boxes we're changing around and doing stuff with. We're also getting the site ready for autumn, because very soon this whole tree here is just about to say it doesn't want its leaves anymore and just dump them straight down here. Along with the acorns, which, as you saw last week, are huge great things, and a couple have already donked me on the head. But yeah, it's all good fun. So yeah, thanks for watching. Until next week, bye bye.